You got it? Good. Good morning, everybody.
Anybody on Zoom?
The response for this meeting is overwhelming. It was published on David's blog, and contrary to my request, I asked them to send out emails because normal Zoom meetings, you send out an invitation. So having said all that, whoever's here, we're not going to vote, but I appreciate you coming. I was going to make an announcement. Donald made one early this morning that my limit was 12 o'clock because I went to the surgery on my head. And but let me just say this. I just got an email before from a member who said, is there a meeting? Will there be a budget? And I said, yes, there'll definitely be a meeting. Did you read about it? No, I didn't open up my email. It's not on my phone. The part that I really didn't like, or I admonished that person, was you were at the meeting and you don't understand what we're talking about. Okay, I said, we're not going to just publish the budget. So what I came prepared to do today, not totally, because I had made two requests, one of Donald and one by Chris, that I want copies of every single contract that UCO has. And the reason for that is, besides reviewing the contracts, seeing if there's any changes or there's any corrections, the budget that I will be preparing, with your assistance, if there's anybody here, I could ask my mother to come, but she's unavailable at this time, will be first a section of all the fixed costs because of contracts. And second, there'll be a section of what is commonly referred to on the prior budgets as other. And the reason being is, and I've been paid for 14 years the budget for my own building that way, I don't think everybody realizes the limited amount of input, even if you're inputting after the fixed costs. And I can't give you the number now, but I would guess easily 5 million, just taking the 3+ million for the cable, okay, the fixed amount for the AMR contract, the fixed amount for salaries, the fixed amount for services, both from Seacrest, okay, AMR, it escapes me the name of the person we have that gets, I think, $1,000 a month as a stipend for working on the newspaper. When you add that all up, it will come to a great amount. And what we will finally get to is the reserves. And there I made some comments this morning, but what's really concerning me is that we have in excess of $10 million, and we'll have another $1 million shortly, where we only earn $500 interest. So, having said all that,
I'm only kidding.
I'm not, having said all that, the other remark that I'd like to make is, I have requested from two parties to give me a copy of each contract. None of them replied. I've been pulling the contract myself. And there are a lot of contracts which were not accounted for as fixed. Okay, so having said all that, and Bob brought everybody lunch, I was gonna take us all to the reindeer.
Thank you, Bob. That was very thoughtful.
We'll postpone that till when we have a good sized meeting.
We don't have a
I
quorum.
think the effort made to have this on Zoom has been very great. I think you're doing a wonderful job, really. I will only request one more time that tomorrow's meeting is at 10 o'clock. And I would have,
Yeah, here or? okay.
everything is here. You need a loan, come here. You're willing to put some money at interest, it's here. The only comment, we did get one more request to put into the budget. And it was well placed. It was, and I think that may be scheduled, that you can't hardly see anymore. This, you know, the white for the driving stripes. Okay, restriping the village. So that was put in. Having said all that, so this isn't a total waste. We can't vote, but I'm open for comments.
Yeah, Ed, I have a comment, please.
Could you stand up, please?
Absolutely.
I can't see you. Hiya, Bobby.
I wanted to make a request for discussion revisiting the subject of the budget for the Special Events Committee. I know you can't vote on it. I'd like to present my remarks if you want me to wait until the meeting tomorrow
No,
when they're.
it will be on tape. It could be repeated, and I'm glad you came in because I sent you that email. And you certainly get a second bite at the apple.
All right.
And if you wrote them out, you're welcome to come tomorrow.
Well, whichever
You could do it now. I don't care. Do it. In fact, I'm very happy that you
All
decided.
right, well,
to.
I just wrote a few remarks because unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, and I wanted to get I just think that your decision to wipe out the budget for the Special Events Committee is very short-sighted and not good for the community. It's a nominal amount of money that the committee asked to have put into the budget. It hasn't been used for 2 years. It may not be used in 2023, but it should be there should the situation, the COVID situation calm down. The money should be there that we can begin to activate. You know, we're looking for
4,200.
well, no, we're looking for people to volunteer to participate in UCO, and we're giving them nothing. Everybody is now looking to WPRF for their activities. There are shows, there are movies, there are club meetings. Everything that is good is now centered around WPRF. UCO is now known for fixing roads, fixing light poles, which certainly is important. But maybe while we're fixing roads, we should be fixing souls. We have to get people interested in coming into UCO and volunteering. You know, the alternative to volunteers is a paid staff. We can't continue running UCO with 4 or 5 people. We have to do something to keep people interested. And I think putting $4,200 into the budget, should we need it, is not such a horrendous amount of money. It would raise our monthly premiums pennies. Um, I assume that whoever is chairperson of the committee again, and hopefully it won't be me, will be responsible enough to know that we don't have parties if there's an outbreak. We don't have parties over in the, where they have the mass things for the county. Keep things moderate, but get Century Village moving again. So I really would like you to revisit the possibility of putting that money back into the budget should it be needed. That is about all I have to say at this point.
How much
I
did you,
appreciate you coming in to represent your opinion. And again,
I think it's very
I'm
important.
very happy that you changed your response when I told you to come in. The floor is open. We can't vote today, but the floor is open for comments.
How do we get people to come to Yuko and volunteer? I've been asking and they all say the same thing.
Can I make a
Not too busy.
suggestion?
can people raise their hands and get recognized?
Sorry.
Can I make you?
Oh, hold it.
Jeez,
Oh,
how much?
He has to finish.
go ahead.
All right, go
Oh,
on.
sorry, I didn't.
I just have one. How much did you ask for?
I think it was 4,200. It's
That's all right.
minimal.
That's about 50 cents per
Right.
unit. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so the people I ask, they all say, I'm retired, why do I have to do this? And I don't want to get involved, you don't get paid. I've had people actually work here for a while and they're here for a month or so and then they leave.
Anybody else? You go ahead.
The big question is, how do you get people involved? You get people involved by giving them power. How do you give them power? You give them power by allowing each one resident unit owner to vote in UCO elections. And that was tried and I attempted to get that done and it was voted down. So I rest my case. You want people to care, you gotta give them the power to vote. You don't give them the power to vote, they're not gonna give a damn, and I don't blame them.
Anybody? Are you done?
I'm done.
You're done on both sides?
I'm off the budget.
Bob Rivera.
Okay, giving them the power to vote, all right? is all
Only in
fine-
UCO elections.
All fine and dandy, all right? However, I pretty much guarantee that that's not gonna do it.
No.
Excuse my language, a damn thing. They're not gonna, people come here, they move in, and they don't care,
Right.
all right?
That's right, they
This is
don't
what's
care,
happening.
right,
A
they
lot of
don't
these
care.
people don't care. So what are you gonna do?
Just like I said, give them the power to vote in UCO elections. It's gonna
Hold on.
force them to care.
Well,
Excuse me,
Go ahead.
Sure.
we're talking about Bobby's proposal to reinstate an
Okay.
amount of money. And it's nice to talk about how do you get volunteers, but that's not the issue.
Okay,
Right.
so then I'll bring up I'll add to the issue.
Joanne, do we have a quorum yet?
No.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Then
How do we have a quorum?
we have a quorum.
Or if Barbara can hear and see us.
Yeah. She can hear us.
Okay.
And I make a motion that we reinstate Bobby's request.
I
Second,
second.
third.
Hold on. Have we taken?
Somebody taking notes?
Now time for discussion.
Not the minutes itself, the sheet of who's here, the attendance.
Sign
I
this.
have it now.
Okay, good. Barbara, you missed a little bit of the opening. and-
No, I had another Zoom meeting, sorry.
Okay, we'll forgive you this time, but not anymore. I want to have Bobby give another, you missed Bobby.
I don't have to listen to Bobby because I voted for it the last time, Bobby.
No, I just wanted to say, I don't think this is the time or place to be discussing whether or not we should have one vote per unit.
Excuse me, Bobby.
It's
All right,
done.
okay.
I stopped that.
Okay, so what I want to
The
say,
topic is
how,
your request
right,
to reconsider an amount for,
and I really do believe that putting that money back into the budget so that people have some social activities to look forward to can only be helpful. If we have volunteers, let's get back to saying thank you. Let's start doing something other than fixing roads.
does anybody else have any comment? I have, oh, you go
I
first.
think it's a valid suggestion, but if it's a suggestion to increase the budget or pay out more money, I want to ask if you have any suggestions where we can save money and decrease
Yes,
to take care of that,
yes.
to offset that.
Oh, to offset, I
offset
think
that.
the amount,
I'm gonna jump in and then you go now. The reason that was given, if I remember, at the meeting where it was turned down was until it came up, until the virus is no longer here.
it's,
And we can go back and look at the video and you'll see that's it. I thought it was 100% vote.
I know.
I haven't got it here, but we'll have it in a minute. However,
I
to
did not,
move-
I did not vote for it, Ed. Sorry to interrupt you. I was the only one who voted.
Yes.
hold on, I can't hear. It's a simple matter. Bobby, a motion to reconsider has to be made, it has to be seconded.
It's already seconded.
Made and spoken.
He made it, I second.
I didn't hear
Doesn't
it.
matter.
Oh, it was not to
Did you get it, Joanne?
reconsider, it was to reinstate.
It's to read.
the budget, suggested a budget amount,
Repeat the motion.
I make a motion to reinstate the,
suggested amount for the,
$4,200.
a suggested 4,200
Was
for
social events.
2023 Social Events Committee.
And
the
I,
2023 Social Event Committee.
and I second.
Is there a second?
He just seconded.
Second.
We should verbalize it because
You
it's
did.
on tape. It's on
Did
tape.
everybody hear me? I seconded.
Okay, good. Now the floor is open for discussion. Is there any further discussion?
No, call the vote.
Yes.
Call the vote. Okay. vote.
I just comment, all right? $4,200 for this. All right, it's been in the budget for how many years? Forever, all right? It wasn't used at all last year,
2 years.
wasn't used before. So that money should be moving forward.
Don't take it.
What goes for- It's a good point, Bob, and I want to, when we had more governmental guidelines, when a amount was given in the government to this office, they get X amount. If they don't spend it, they'll always spend it because it doesn't get rolled forward. So last year, in my opinion, is not the issue. From my perspective, one thing happened was it was voted down basically for the virus, which I felt, I'll give you a chance. Two, Bobby or Olga just said, can you get something to reduce it? The answer is simple. If this committee feels it should change its mind, vote yes. If you don't feel it should change your mind, vote no. There's 1,000 different reasons that you could make for either side. And the fact that it wasn't spent could be wrong. Bobby, you have your turn again.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell the committee again how I came up with that amount. The amount of money spent for the centenarians is minimal because unfortunately, the number of centenarians is dropping. I have 3 this year. I'll probably spend $100 on birthday cakes and cards. If we have a an installation party. That pretty much is self-paid for because everybody that goes to an installation party pays their own way. The only large expense is the party that we have for the volunteers. The only way I can cut back on that, and the price on that has gone up because restaurants have increased their prices. I will make very sure that when we send out invitations, the invitations are very limited so that we don't get all of a sudden 300 people are coming to the volunteer party. The committee will be very careful. We've already asked committee chairpersons to send in a list of the people who are now actively working on their committee. You sent me that information. Ruth sent me that information. We will limit the number of people. That is and the expense for the newcomers is also very minimal. So when I asked for $4,200 for 4 activities, I don't think it's so unreasonable. And again, I say, I assume that a chairperson will take into consideration the state of COVID. We now have COVID, it's going to be with us forever like the flu. We have to learn to live with it. All I've got to say.
Ed,
Ed, do you want to recognize Barbara?
Barbara,
I just want to say, Bobby, I agree 100% with you. I feel very bad that those people who, the few we have that reach 100 may not be here the following year to recognize them. And also, all you ever hear is complaints, we don't have volunteers. Well, let's show how much we appreciate them and have the luncheon. And that's why I voted for it, because I think you're 100% right.
any other?
Call the question.
I have,
Call the vote.
Call the question.
No one seems to want to discuss how we could cut something back. in
I haven't-
order to make-
We
I haven't
don't have a
answered.
budget to look at. We
That's-
don't have a
Excuse me.
budget.
it's a good question. There's a simple way, and Bobby had some comments in her return that she gets certain items for free, which are donated. Okay, that's one.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah. Number 2, the big box stores like Costco and the other major one,
Right.
which is, the name escapes me, but they have a budget that they give out money every month. And you have to just apply for it, give your reason, and you will generally get it. It's good to put it in advance because you have a lot of people, but they're very accommodating. I can tell you that when I ran an event, they were very helpful.
Okay, so
So that's one, excuse me. 2, you could ask some of the merchants to be a sponsor. And I think you can get a lot of sponsors for the 100th centennial, because God bless them, if they live that long, they deserve recognition. The next thing is, part of what we're doing here, the way I see it, is advertising. What we're not getting is, if you have this 100th centennial, we should try to contact the media. It would be a good thing to be in the Palm Beach Post or the Jewish Journal.
And
That,
believe me, that's all been done.
have we ever had an article
Yes,
in the
we
picture?
absolutely do.
When?
Every year.
Every year.
Every year, they're contacted, they come. I had the ice cream place came. That isn't the point. I, as chairperson of this committee, am not going out to Costco looking for free things. If my name is on a party, I'm not putting leftover cake on a table. Maybe the next committee will. I don't think that asking for $4,000 to make the residents of the village feel that we're taking care of them is such a terrible, terrible thing. Let the next committee figure out how they're gonna, this is what I'm doing.
Ed,
Call the vote.
Ed,
Let's call the vote.
No,
yeah, let's call the vote.
Yeah,
He's got
because
it.
this is a limited time meeting.
Bobby runs a tight ship. I don't think the burden of finding something else
I'm
to
not gonna
cut
do it.
should be on her. She runs a tight ship. The motion is to give her the 4,000. We're gonna be here for 3 more days. If we find something else to cut, fine. If not, it's not her problem, period.
Call the vote.
Can we
Take
call
the
the
vote.
vote?
Take the vote.
Barbara Cornish,
Yes,
Richard Handelsman,
Yes,
Olga Wolfenstein,
No,
John Malloy.
Yes,
Okay, and Ed Grossman,
Yes.
Bob Rivera.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. The vote is 6-1, and the motion carries.
Thank you.
thank you,
Bobby, do
Bobby.
you remember this committee? No? Okay.
I
Thank
just-
you, Bobby.
Just want to repeat,
Yeah, thank you for your work. It is.
I'm gonna go to the party.
Huh?
I'm gonna go to the party.
I just want to repeat that this meeting will terminate at 12 o'clock. I noticed from the video, it was 2 hours and 38 minutes, the other meeting, of which 1 hour was a total waste, which was pick a place. Okay, I am not prepared to put anything more on the table because I don't think it will get the exposure it deserves. And it'll give another take to the 2 people who I've asked to give me the contracts. And I've been on that Z drive looking for it all. And it's an important part of this budget. So having said that, Bob has his hand up and I'll recognize him in a minute. I think you had a side discussion of why we're not getting volunteers. We're not getting volunteers because in my humble opinion, we're not transparent enough. And that's why I elected to have emails sent out to make some suggestions. Okay, and out of 2,000 emails, we got 16 returns, but maybe we'll get more now that the paper is open. Okay, Bob, your turn.
In our budget, we have items that are under contract. They are not gonna change.
I agree, that's why I want to go.
We don't have anything in front of us to tell us what we can look at that's not a contract that we can either cut or increase.
There is a method to my madness, because I think you should know what you gotta pay before some items are not mandatory and can go down as well as up. And so I'm reserving that, just for I said, I don't know if you walked in, the first thing was the suggestions, which we went through. The second thing will be going through the contracts. And the third thing will be income that we do get. And the fourth thing will be those items that are subject to variance.
Over this past couple of years, we've had increases in
I can't hear you.
We've had increases in registering your vehicle here, all right, getting your
Oh, I can't hear you. Hold it, something's wrong.
hearing aid.
No wonder why I can't hear you.
Thank you, Ed.
Well,
All right, over the past couple of years, we've had increases in the fees to get your stickers,
Barcode.
your barcode sticker. We've had increases in a couple other things,
Investigation.
investigations. We've had increased, the investigations have gone up, but that's also the state doing that too. So, I mean, those things we can't, well, we could touch the barcode, but not by much, because we're basically just slightly over what we're paying for it, so, I mean, I think we're making 50 cents on it. So there, I mean, there's a lot of things have been done as far as, they tried to increase the visitors passes, and it got voted down afterwards, after it was.
WPRF, don't muddy the water. That's WPRF.
Is it?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I mean, there's been increases. in a lot
I'm
of
just
places.
gonna make one,
I personally think, and beautification committee, you're gonna hate me. I think that could be cut a little bit.
I appreciate your thoughts. However, this is not my first time at bat, and that's not the way I see it. First of all, there are cuts that could be made, but that's at the
Okay,
where,
can I finish it? All right.
Bob, you gave your opinion.
No, I'm not done.
No, you're not. Do we have the 3-minute rule here?
No.
Why?
You're the chair. If you want a 3-minute rule, put it in. a
Go
3-minute
into,
rule.
all I want to say is, I don't want to get into an hour discussion as to where we're gonna have the next meeting. That was a total waste of time. Yes,
I believe that was
appreciate
already
any
decided. It's gonna
comments.
be here, right?
Excuse me?
It's gonna be here tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's done.
And maybe another 10 days, I don't know.
Yeah. And get it before Friday.
So what else?
It's not gonna be here before
I
Friday.
know.
I'm sorry.
It has to be here
Interrupt.
before the
It does
delegate.
And
How are you going to present it to the delegates for the
It doesn't
September?
get presented.
Then how are they going to see a budget to vote on in October if they don't get it on Friday? That's what Stuart brought up. We're supposed to have a budget, supposed to be presented to the officers and board before Friday.
That,
And it's
Hold
not
on.
going to happen.
I don't
Hold
want
on.
to see the
I
budget.
would, do I have to bring in the bylaw, or do you know that bylaw
Oh,
by heart?
God.
I know it by
This
heart.
is August. September, the budget is supposed to be presented to the officers. And October, it gets presented to the delegate
No,
assembly.
executive
No,
board,
yeah.
Well,
When do the-
even the executive board.
that means that it's another month.
Yeah, when are the delegates going to see it to
I
digest
understand that.
before voting on?
Okay, now, can I finish what I wanted to say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, we're gonna get increases. All right, one of the reasons we're gonna get increases because of WPRF's air conditioning.
That's
That
not,
gets paid out of the WPRF budget.
Yeah, but who's paying the WPRF budget?
Well,
We are.
That's
So it's
true.
still needs to be discussed because we're gonna pay $2-point-something million for their air conditioning.
3.4,
What,
3.8.
3 now, okay,
3.4, Bob. I hate to
3.4.
correct you.
that's fine. All right,
They're gonna
$3.4 million, that's gonna give us a significant increase to everyone.
Plus the
All
rent.
right, and then they're talking about, oh, well, we'll take it out of the reserve. All right, why do they have a reserve?
It was a mistake that was made by the operation committee, and if you read the arbitrator's argument was, you set up a reserve, you paid for it before, you're gonna pay for it again.
And they're
at
gonna
the
keep on
last
doing that.
Operations meeting, I'll let you finish. At the last operations meeting, I got up and said, vote this down. It's gonna work against you. And there was only one vote against it, which was mine. And the next bigger error was someone from the audience said, Dan said, do you want to see the bids? And someone yelled, we don't have to see the bids. We trust you. Here's our money. Here's our money. What people don't realize is every time we voted to pay for something, they use it against you. And if you can't get that, you're just pissing our money away.
We just lost a lawsuit.
You didn't lose it.
Yes, we did.
No, you didn't.
We're gonna pay, right?
No,
Oh, we're not
you're not
paying.
listening, Bob.
We're not paying.
You're not paying for a minimum of 120 days. There is gonna be an appeal sign. Move forward within 30 days, which is
If
less.
it goes like the last three or
Yeah.
whatever it was, we're gonna lose again, and because we have a reserve that we turned around and said, oh, this is gonna be for you guys just in case you need it, all right? The whole idea is you give WPRF a budget, all right? You tell them, this is your budget, no reserve, all right? And you work within your budget. If you can't get it, if you can't work within your budget,
Is that WPRF or us?
we still paying for it.
Bob,
It's still
You-
us.
us is 20 years of inaction, which now you first take the action. They've made it, we're getting into read the documents, read the lawsuit. Every time we said yes, including last month, we get kicked in the ass and no one really knows it. They don't want to believe it. And we don't need to see the bids. We trust you. Wow, that's a good remark
No,
for the.
no, we have a
other
bid
side.
committee, right, Barbara?
I'm not on the bid committee,
Oh,
Bob.
you,
I'm not on beautification.
He's talking ops.
Ops, yes.
Yeah, ops.
okay, well,
The ops committee.
we do
was an
it, we have a
abortion.
bid committee, and the bid committee should be seeing whatever bids WPRF is getting.
Absolutely right, Bob.
Because they have a habit of going to one vendor and using that one vendor no matter what. We need to start seeing this stuff. It's our money.
I agree, Bob.
I go further, Bob. I say, why are they shopping for our money? In other words, we were relying on WPRF to do the shopping. As far as using the same vendors, this is the guilty blaming the guilty. And I brought that up at another meeting. Donald uses the same vendors all the time. So we're telling them not to do it and we're doing it. The key is the whole agreement is garbage, but if we're stuck with it, we should do the shopping. And the answer I got was, we haven't got the time. Yet WPRF uses the same person for every single bid. I think I see your hand.
There's an operations committee meeting tomorrow at 1:00.
Right.
Huh?
12:30.
12:30.
Nobody's eating on me.
But it's, well, I think Monica will present the budget, the operations committee will deal with it. All this discussion should wait and come to the meeting. Right now, all I want to know is, what will we be seeing tomorrow?
A budget.
What will, yeah, if we're gonna try.
You'll have 4 pages,
Do you mean here?
which will go through line at a time for the.
Oh,
first
yeah,
time.
yeah, what will we have tomorrow?
Here, Monica will do us here.
Yes,
Right,
We
right.
have here.
Ed, this is the finance committee for you go. Why
yes,
are we going into WPRF?
yeah, why?
Because I mentioned it.
Tomorrow.
Why are we going into WPRF? Simply because we're the ones that approve how much money they're gonna spend.
Well, don't do it
Bottom line,
tomorrow.
Like Bob says, it is our money.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is the time to say
Time,
no.
time. We're losing it back and forth.
We got 15 minutes left.
The answer is, this should be discussed before the budget that's presented to us tomorrow. It's a nonsense to, at that meeting, to be presented a 4-page budget. But what do? Nothing. None, we had an emergency meeting, which wasn't an emergency. So I think the answer is, we should be publishing everything to turn down that what they do. Let's move on. We only got 20 minutes left. Yes, Bob.
Okay. Everybody's saying how WPRF has their own budget, but the money is coming from us. So it should be in our budget that they are getting whatever it is. It's still coming out of our money to pay them.
What does that have to do?
No.
No, it's a separate budget. But it should be listed under our budget that money is
No.
going to them.
No.
Now, we need to decide what UCO is going to do
Yes.
next year.
Are we
We're
going to
not
see a
getting anywhere.
budget tomorrow?
Okay.
We're not getting anywhere.
I don't want to get crazy here, but our bylaws say that we go to the operations meeting and we suggest or vote up or down on the various items. Some of the stuff is very valid, and yet it's been going on for years, and we're bound by the bylaws until the bylaws change by the advisory committee. Now, I'm open for change. I think those bylaws should go in the garbage as far as I'm concerned. But the answer is, you gotta change it.
We're not bound by the bylaws, we're bound by the long-term lease,
Mhm.
which we signed for 99 years. The bylaws have nothing to do with our relationship to Benenson.
Well,
Absolutely.
the answer to that is, Bob,
There's only one person.
we're telling him to stick it.
Here.
So,
We
you know,
told them 3
do
times.
they
You.
stick it to
What?
us? All of a sudden, it's an emergency,
You would-
and Dan says, if you don't approve it, we don't need it. So So let's get on to something else.
You were talking millennium. I wasn't.
As I said, what will we see here tomorrow?
Yes, what?
We need to see something that we can maneuver with,
We need-
find answer.
We need a budget tomorrow.
We need, right.
You know, you gotta stop that. You really do. Pull out, I'm gonna bring in the bylaws and convince you.
I don't want to know from bylaws. This is a budget meeting. I want to see a budget.
This is not a budget
It's,
meeting.
what is it?
This is a finance meeting.
For the
And
purpose of a
finance
budget.
covers- You're not gonna see it because
Okay.
it's not gonna be done the way it was done before.
Okay, then I don't think you'll have much of a meeting tomorrow.
Well, you may not think so,
I
but
know
I
so.
think so.
Okay.
So if there's nothing else,
Can I ask a question? You have 15 minutes.
yeah,
Are we here to save money for the residents, or are we here to give them everything they want so that they can have full enjoyment and spend as much as we need, as much as they want to give them pleasure? Which is our responsibility here?
who are you
As a
asking?
finance committee, I'm asking you, as a finance committee.
Read the bylaws. The
Okay.
finance committee is here to do the best job it can with regard to the finances of Century Village.
So which,
Excuse me, that doesn't mean increase, it doesn't mean decrease. So it's simple. The finance committee prepares the budget. It gives it to the officers committee. They either vote it up or down. And the new budget, the new bylaw says even if they vote it down, it goes to the executive board. And even if they vote it down, it goes to the delegate assembly. And if the delegate, they have line item veto, they could veto anything. And that's the best we've ever done. Having said that, I'd like to get anything else that has to do with finance. Tomorrow, I would hope that I have all the contracts. Whatever I have tomorrow will be distributed. And then we will get into the nuances of what we should be paying and what we are paying. So having said all that, Richard, you got a lot of reading. You may have done a lot of that before.
How can we change a contract? I don't.
Well, that's a good question. A contract is an agreement between two parties. And at any time during the term of the contract, it could be amended if both sides agree. Now, actually, in the academy contract, it specifically has dispute agreements, if you know the contract, and you ask to sit down, and it specifically says it will be either moved up or moved down. And that hasn't been done, although I've requested it 100 times. And what I find even more disturbing is when I was having a discussion with Omar, who was the point man, and he was answering questions. I sent him emails, he never sent it back. I called him, he said he can't give me any information. He was directed by Yukos Cam not to give out any information. And I gotta tell you, as an auditor, that's a red flag to me.
Are we gonna see the contract tomorrow?
Oh, you're gonna see the contract that, definitely, you're talking about the academy contract.
Right.
Absolutely. you're
All right,
gonna-
let's-
And
Let's wait until then.
let me say one other thing. I haven't got it total, and you may have it, on the Breeze Line contract, which was Atlantic Broadband, okay? You will see what they laid out for putting in the new cables. Okay, they didn't do it, did they? They actually gave us a diagram where they're putting in, I keep forgetting, the newest type of cable. Okay, where is that?
There's a broadband committee meeting on the 14th. That's the time to discuss it.
The time to discuss the contract when it comes to money is here. Nothing gets done at Century Village except of a few volunteers without expending or collecting funds. And they've been apprised. We had a meeting and it was for bupkis. You know, nothing. We were supposed to get another graph or amount that of people or outages that had occurred during the last 2 months, which they don't reimburse you for unless you go. We also found out, no one really realized that if they remove channels, they don't have to give you a penny or replace them. Also, you brought up they collecting this fund that they keep for themselves. So is there something to discuss? Absolutely. Absolutely, everything is money.
I move that we adjourn.
I have one thing
Sorry.
I sent you that list back of all the contracts.
Talk of-
I sent you the list back with all the contracts
Yes,
that will not open up. And
Right,
it's stuck in Google. So I can't, it's asking for authorization.
right.
they didn't ask me for an authorization, however,
I emailed you.
if someone had called me, I would have tried what the authorization is. It probably is a passcode. I didn't realize you need.
I emailed it to you.
I didn't get any of it,
I
Ed.
may have emailed it to you yesterday, but I have a little bit of a life too. I mean,
What?
who's doing all this research? Okay? I would imagine if it can't be done, it can't be done. I will contact Google today after they cut my head open.
All right, I move again that we adjourn.
Second,
Second, discussion.
Thank you all for coming.
Can I ask you a question?
Hold on, you could ask, I want to comment what a wonderful job you're doing, and I know it's very hard.
Is the meeting officially adjourned?
I can't hear you.
Has the meeting been adjourned?
Yes, it has.
Yes.
Okay, I can stop.
This